Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, One Crack News. Let's get into it. Now, people want to make what they want of it with the Enes Kanter situation. Well, let's do that. Let's get into it. Now, Enes was in a very dire situation. Enes' situation was one of I don't care. To him, his citizenship was more important than what they could do to him outside of the sport of basketball. He's made millions of dollars playing the sport, and he had about 25 games left in his contract, which he kind of was informed that he would not be allowed back, that he better enjoy the situation and the gifts he was provided, in other words. So, by him getting allowed free reigns and access to everything that was transpiring, meaning that he was allowed to particularly, what you say, partake in all of the traveling and going out and being seen in the Boston Celtics, the history, the dynasty, the legacy of Boston in the NBA is, you know, premier. They want to keep them as one of their major teams, and then you have someone like Enes Kanter who changed his name legally to Enes Kanter Freedom. So when he went and decided to start being opinionated, the NBA says we support free speech, and told him, no, no, you can say what you want. We're not gonna ban you because we can't do that legally. And you know, people, coaches, is like, man, we love what you're doing, but do you know where you're doing it at? And do you know the cost of what you're going to do? Said he knew the cost, he knew the risk, he knew the rights, and he was cut. And that hasn't stopped him. He's teamed up with the Republican Party, Michael Waltz down in Florida, start calling out all these corporate sponsors for the Beijing Olympics, calling it the genocide games, regularly targeting Nike specifically because of Nike's labor dispute that they have with the China and the human rights, what's going on with Tibet and that situation in their country. And you start seeing about how Turkey's human rights for abuse for over a decade has been talked about, and you start seeing about human rights around the world being spoken on by Enes Kanter. He's not just talking about back home, which got him basically barred from there. He's gotten free Tibet. But not just Tibet, the whole China, basically, for everything involved, from Hong Kong to Shanghai and everything. They told them that they would not, they took his ad down, that Stand for Freedom ad that he had, because he had the logos in there. And they said, we can't run this because of the corporate logos. They were like, we're sorry, we can't, the corporate logos in there, we can't run it. But he really wanted that out there. And he's like, look, I'm going to start painting these messages on my shoes. So he was doing the warm up, and they were focused in on his shoes. And two NBA executives told him, "You need to take these shoes off, or be banned." But he said, "I went over the NBA rules, and you can't bar players from placing human rights messages on their shoes. And I've been studying for my U.S. citizenship test, so I knew about free speech. You cannot take my First Amendment away from me." So he told them, "Go tell your boss I don't care what happens." So during that game, his manager texted him that China had made a decision to ban all broadcasts of the Boston Celtics games in the country. By halftime, that was done. That shows how much power they had over there. Now, he said when he spoke out about Turkey's human rights abuses, no one at the NBA complained. He could talk about Turkey all he wanted, but once he spoke about China's human right, his phone was ringing once every hour with someone complaining from the league office or whatever about what he was doing. Last year, more people in the NBA was watching in China than the American population. Did you know that? Over 400 million people. The NBA gets almost $5 billion from China. You think they want to mess that up? Now, the criticism of China, which end up driving him off the court, the Communist Party that they said sat back and watched as it paid all of these people for their dirty works to keep quiet. He pointed out Apple, Coca-Cola, Nike. They were against the Forced Labor Prevention Act, which banned imported goods being made by slave labor. They lobbied against it because the Communist Party, they're the ones that are paid to do the propaganda. So companies such as Coca-Cola spoke out against Georgia's voting law, but now the sponsor of the Olympics in the country engaged in this, whatever they call it, money. Well, you can call it blood diamond type money, but this is why they turn a blind eye. But he knows since he's been cut, he's like, "Look, I'm 29 years old. I'm healthy. I could play another 6 years if I want." So I hope that's not the case. But he's like, if that's the reason, then I'm going to be able to not going to be able to play basketball again. Then you know what? Oh well. I look back and at least say I did the right thing. And that's an amazing, amazing position to take. If only, just imagine, if only we could do something like that. If we had such the nerve. If we had the gall to make that kind of a stand. Right? If only we had that nerve. Now, here's what I always say about those who don't seem to get it. And what we mean by people who don't get it is there's a fact that in a case of such as this, or the standard of such as this, you see certain allowances being granted to people while other people don't have those type of allowances. What you're seeing is a ton of people who are stuck in what they call the matrix. And because they're stuck in this matrix, everybody must conform. And if they don't conform, well, they just screwed. How about that? That's how the world works now. Do what we say and just go along with everything. That's why they love LeBron. LeBron is going to toe the line every single time. He's not going to question authority. He's going to go along with what's on the table every time. Not some of the time, not part time, every time. He is going to buck and dance and do everything the NBA wants him to do because that's in his DNA. He ain't gonna mess up no money. He don't give a damn about the greater good. To him, if he ain't getting paid, it ain't the greater good. He got to get paid. Now, now that he just went and spoke before Congress, how far will this go? And we've already seen some shaking that has been going on with the NBA in China, and as far as their goods and the way they're doing it, and how he's able to make some change. And what he's doing is actually making some noise. LeBron did a lot of talk, but I don't see us getting a damn dime. Do you? And all those people who was opposed of everybody else speaking up of our freedoms, they had so much to say. They seem to be going right along with this China situation, though. All the conservatives, what's going on with that? Y'all had a lot of mouth when it was about black people getting some money, people in this country being mistreated. But some people in China being mistreated, y'all all hook, line, and sinker. What's the agenda? We know what it is, but it is what it is, right? Is what it is. Well, damn, I just lost this bet. All right, well, let me get out of here. I'll talk to you. Bye.